YouTube. So I have had a flight with the Bugs 2 SE already, and it was exemplary, pretty good. I didn't notice anything different from the first one though, the 2W, so we're going to do this again because my run cam decided to poop out on me. If it does, I have a backup today, so here goes. Horizontal, and spin it around until we get alternate red-green, alternate green-green, green-green. Up, turn it around, and until we get red-green, and we're good to go. Two in the middle here are completely null, we don't get any controls over those. Auto takeoff, unlock, lock, return to home, which that is our home spot, and then photos and video. This is your GPS. Off is to the left, and this is headless. Off is to the left, so let's go. Unlock. I should have given it less grass. Lock. And we're going to do auto takeoff. Now GPS isn't on, so we've got control over this. Now I haven't flown the 2W for a while, but this feels possibly slightly smoother on cyclic. It's not quite as robotic. You still get that GPS sort of spring back to start when you've got the GPS on. Let's just GPS on. And let's record a video. This is a long press on the photo button. And we get a video icon up there. Now you can take pictures by a single press while you're videoing. Now we've got 15 satellites at the moment. I think it's above 8 and we should not use them, so 16 is all good. Now we'll test the GPS hold by a slow circle, a slow pirouette. And that's one of the things that this MGX range really does let you do. It lets you finesse the yaw in and out, so you can get a really nice slow, like if I slow it right down, and it speeds up beautifully. It's not super fast at the top, but for FPV this is, you don't need any more. Okay, so we've got height at 25. Let's take it up. $63. Let's do a little pan. Seems pretty good. I'm going to take it forward a bit simply because I have to steep my neck so far straight up. Okay. Let's take it there. There's a bird. Let's take it a little higher. Seems to be nice and obedient. Okay, so we've got 103 on height here. I'm not 100% sure on the scale. Is that meters? Certainly looked higher than 30 meters when it was 30 meters up. So let's have a nice little pirouette up here. near bad. And while we've still got some battery left, we're going to do a return to home. So that's this button. And now it's coming back automatically over to the home spot, which should look right above us somehow. It always looks behind me when I'm looking straight up, but that's pretty much above me. Now it's going to chill for, I think it's 15 seconds or so, and then it's going to come straight down. So I'm going to step back. Okay, it looks like it's descending now. Now if it's too slow for you, or you've got back to a safe spot, like you lost orientation or what have you, you can get out of return to home just by pressing that button again, and you're good to go. Same with auto land, you can just, well, that one you don't have to press the button to get out of it, you can just fly out of it. So the only downfall to the return to home is it comes down slowly. So it's a good chunk of your battery if you're waiting for it to come all the way back from oblivion and then land itself. We'll keep an eye on this, see how close it is to the start spot. Now if you run out of battery, it will start beeping and eventually initiate a return to home. The battery warning is probably one of the nicest things because it's so easy to get immersed in your flight and just fly too long. And if you're further away than you are now, you can't really see the flashing, so the controller beeps to let you know that. It's a cracking feature for MGX. So I can affect the yaw as it's coming down. We'll take a picture. Okay, I'm not going to land, I'm just going to fly around here, so we'll press the return to home button and we're good to go. Now I'm going to take the GPS off. So we only get one rate, or one speed on the cyclic and rudder for this. What I'd really like to see is a low, a medium and a high, because this is, it's alright as a medium or a low for some people, but that's as much banking as you can get. Makes the turning circle, certainly when you're going fast, quite wide. You have to slow down to be able to turn. And it's only 2S, so I don't expect a lot of speed, but it's got enough power to maintain a bit more attitude than that. So I'd like to see at least two rates, a low and a high, and also a rate mode. Now there's no excuses for it. Now a lot of the other MGX quads have rate mode, which is the one thing they've been missing. We've got two unused switches here, two unused switches. Be able to just switch that to low and high, or have a rate mode and then a self-level. My God, you get so much more life out of this as a learner. Other than that, they're pretty good. Now I have my issues with the FPV side of these things, because a lot of people are going to buy this to have a look around up high, and it's pretty good, but it's not to the stage where the DVR is something I would want to keep, and the FPV isn't as good as a 5.8. So there's a little sweet spot there that gives you a taster, but for me, I'm a little unsatisfied with the FPV. They are delightfully smooth though, they really are. A very mellow learner flyer experience. You couldn't really be too disappointed. It's kind of like Hubsan, but with finesse. Well, the one thing they could learn from Hubsan is better video. I mean, they gave up Wi-Fi video ages ago on the H501S range and just put 5.8 in there, and it's a way better experience for FPV. I guess the last little niggle would be camera angle. It's really not hard to have something that would ratchet, even on an internal servo. I mean, that would be, let me just put GPS hold on. So when you're flying fast down low, you get a forward shot instead of all grass, like that. No one wants to see all grass, and quite frankly, I prefer FPV really down low, and this isn't made for that at all. Now, when I first saw this had come out, I wondered what difference it had over the 2W, and somebody piped up online and told me it had a follow me mode and a circle mode, and there's no reason why they couldn't do that at all. But I don't see that in the manual, I don't see it mentioned on the product listing, so I don't know whether there's another version of the bugs that does that, but there's no reason why it shouldn't. All the functions there. Okay, now we're getting a beep and all the lights are flashing red. Now yesterday I tried this and you get another minute or so hovering around, but you haven't got a lot of power. So I'm going to leave it over there. And we are still videoing. And we'll see how late it initiates its own return to home and landing. That must be nearly 2 minutes now, so at stock with a good new battery, you could be quite a distance away and initiate a return to home. I just wonder how far you could actually get away. Do you get a full 300 to 500 meters return to home distance on this? Maybe you do. Come on little critter. It's time to come home. I'll put a counter up on the screen, but that must be 3 minutes plus. It must be. There's some strange bugs, time distortion going on when you fly these things. Oh, there we go. That wasn't me. It's doing that itself. Now, I think that is less height than the normal return to home distance. But it did climb a little bit. Both sticks down. Apparently, you'll turn it off. I'll make it wiggle. I think you can hold straight down on there or do the lock feature as well. So I'm going to stop the video with a long press. Flick it a little bit, but yes, we've stopped the video with a long press. One thing I tried yesterday was recording the video again and then turning the quad off to see if it actually saved the clip, and it did yesterday.
So the other feature worth mentioning is Headless Mode. Now I'm not a big fan of Headless Mode because I generally don't need it, but I am very glad it's there. Basically, it ignores your orientation. If you face the quad away from yourself and press forwards, it will go away from yourself. Turn the quad any other direction and press forwards and it will still go the same way. Forwards will always go away from you, backwards will always come backwards. So if you ever lose orientation, you can literally just click this active and pull backwards to bring it back, but you don't have to commit to a full return to home. Generally I'm not a big fan of this, but it does deserve a place on this quad, absolutely. The only thing you've got to watch out for is if you forget you've got it active, or in my case you knock it on in the bag, and this happens when you try to do a coordinated turn line of sight.
So that's where I was. Then I flew down here and then I tried to fly back so I could get a nice flowy shot of that, and Headless Mode was on because I had the transmitter in my bag, and it just went this way, this way, this way, this way. As soon as it started going anywhere where I didn't want it to go, I figured just keep it going until you hit a bit of land. But I didn't realise there's some more water over there. This is where I landed. Pretty lucky. It's still not totally out of the danger. Okay, so it's time to try the FPV out and see if we get any different experience at all in the 2W. Perhaps the camera's better. Okay, so the run cam's crapped out on me again. we're going to try some FPV with the Mobius. I think it's possibly a little bit less latency than Dunk's phone. What is this? Sony something? Is there a Samsung something? Give this a go. I still really like the auto takeoff. GPS is on. And headless is off, so no canal exercises. Okay. Not sure you can actually see what's going on. I'm going to turn this way so you can see. Okay, I lost video already. It's back now. I'm not very far away at all there, and it's glitching out on frames. I wouldn't. Right, aircraft not connected. Okay, we've got a connection now. I just don't feel we'll be able to see the screen there, but it's recording, so I'll put it up. Now, it's definitely not a pleasant experience in the wind with those missed frames and glitches. So I think what we'll do is point it over yonder. It's well windy up there. And see at what point it is we lose. See, I got it back there, but it dropped it for a good couple of seconds. And it's so windy that when I'm turning around, it's pointing down at 45 degrees just to keep level. It's kind of crazy. I've not got any connection I can see now. Okay, we're back. So it's obvious that I haven't got a lot of range in that, and it's really difficult to fly. So I'm going to bring this down. We'll do a return to home and see what it handles it like in the wind. Now, I started off really close to this tree, so when it comes back I'm going to take hold of it. Okay, lost connection on the way back again. I think what I'm going to do is find a big wide open space and take both of them up there and see if there's any difference in the two models. So I'm going to press return to home again and just bring it down. And that's as fast as it can descend. I've got down all the way there. And we had 16 satellites straight away out here as well. I don't think I've ever got more than 16. Okay, so I'm just going to turn GPS off. See if it's any better just coasting around here. Wow, that's a strong wind. Yeah, it's still glitching out and losing frames for multiple seconds there, so it doesn't make me want to take GPS off, which means it isn't a particularly nice FPV experience, even if you've got all the frames you should have. It's a shame because we've actually got a bit of sunshine now. See, with no wind, you can probably get smoother FPV footage than you can line of sight, just because you haven't got to fight the self level, you can actually feel it. But up high, you're going to get its ass kicked, and you haven't got any downward angle, so you really do have to be at least this high, yeah, even more than this. Let's see how high you have to not lose the horizon. That's about it, really. And apparently we are 9, 10, 11 meters up. 9 meters there. So MGX, one question for you. If you're given the bugs range, hey, rate mode, why hasn't the update got rate mode if it hasn't got anything else different apart from a colour and a battery mounting system? Bad form, MGX. It's not bad to say it's not got a lot of power and it's this windy, but this is definitely the worst GPS stay performance I've had out of it. Never had that kind of height change on it before. It is worth saying the props are a little dinged up, so I'll take part blame for this. There might have been a few trees involved here and there. It's no bad, it's no bad. It's better than Hubsan, not as good as P4. I'd also still like to see a really small, you know, like they did a mini bugs? I'd like to see a mini bugs Wi-Fi GPSE. In fact, no, I'd like to see like a H501S with a 5.0 GHz analog FPV, because then it would be perfectly good. And there's no excuse for dropping frames on a DVR. Absolutely not if it's a second version. But strangely, with those little flaws, I do really still like it. Let's bring this baby in. Down. Okay, just in case the antenna orientation had anything to do with that abysmal performance, I'm going to try with them flat. Give it a go. We've also got a buttock transplant. So, recording on the model. And it has actually started on here as well. Still a couple of questions about that, but I'll answer those afterwards. Here goes. Okay, it's noticeably better performance. Okay, I glitched out a little bit there. Still got no signal. Okay, it's updating. Let's take it a bit further. Okay, lost a couple of frames there. Until I got to that barrier between the first and the second field, I didn't have a glitched signal at all. Now I've just got a stuck signal facing away. Okay, we're back. See, now I'd expect the DVR to be doing a better job than this, but with that stopping that, I'm not really sure. Got a few questions. So yeah, it says aircraft not connected. The 2.4 will be, so the aircraft's still holding. But yeah, that's pants. Let's bring it home. Not unlock. Return to home. Okay, I lost it for a second, but it's up there. Looks like it's climbing up to its height, and oh no, it's actually coming back now. It's climbing. Signal partially came back there. I mean, I'm still just in long line of sight range here, and I've not got a video, so it's really limited what FPV you're gonna get. I think it depends much more on the area and the device that you're using. Okay, now we're back. It's definitely having a slightly tougher time today. A bit gusty up there, but it's handling it. It's just not a pleasant onboard experience. Now, it always looks a bit off from down here, but it looks like it's coming up from where I took off, not where I actually bound and calibrated the quad, which was over there. I didn't actually realise that. I thought it was from where you did the turning on the calibration. Yeah, it's always come down within a couple of meters, and it's usually closer. Shrubbery! Right, this time, got a flashing logo there. I'm going to stop the video with this one. And it did momentarily after. So let's just do a little test. Hold that so it's looking over yonder. That's it, so I've got a bit of horizon, that's it, spot on. Right, and I'm going to record on this one. Okay, it's actually giving me a recording logo on that. Just move it left and right a second. Yeah, and it'll be interesting to see if, even though it says recording there to tell me it's recorded, am I getting one on the DVR for that? Record success, and then one more try, this one, put it back in the middle, and go up and down a little bit like that. So I'm going to start with this and turn it off with this. That's the one that I haven't done yet. Okay, we're recording. A little bit uppy downy. Spot on, my beautiful assistant. And then stop it with this one. Yeah, that stopped it on both as well. So it'll be interesting to see if it does record on both of them. It'd be nice to have some way of selecting it if I only want a DVR on here, but I want to be able to see it on there, but we'll see.
While I really like just about all Bugs quads, I do have some mixed feelings about this update, or second edition as it were, simply because it's really not that much of an update that I can tell. I mean, it comes in a different colour and has an improved battery mounting system that definitely makes it more secure in crashes and bumps, but that seems to be about all. However, because of this, the B2W lipos will not fit in the B2SE unless the clip mechanism is modified, and then the only thing holding it in is a single plastic tab. The B2SE lipo will fit and work in the B2W unmodified, but again, only really friction fits, so will pop out in a crash. The recording will still save, but the last 5 to 8 seconds will be cut off, so kudos to MGX for that at least. Other than that, I don't see any differences in function or performance. The B2W review and the playlist will be in the description below if that's of interest to you, but it can actually be had a little cheaper, so some people might prefer that one. So the pros or the selling points for me are pretty much the same as the original. It's just how easy it is to fly for somebody with no experience. It's reliable, obedient, and has every safety feature a GPS quad needs. GPS hold is solid in all but the most extreme winds, and height holding smooth and effective even while moving. Yaw is excellent, super smooth and easy to feather in and out. Smooth coordinated turns are a pleasure to execute. All that doesn't mean there isn't room for improvement or additions though. The camera, and especially the FPV experience as a whole, does have some serious limitations. Firstly, the camera doesn't deal with bright sunshine too well, especially if just off shot to the left or to the right. There's also no angle adjustment, so unless you want horizon to disappear off the top of the screen and only see the ground when flying forward, the quad has to be about 15 to 20 meters high. There's no FPV flying low, which I seriously love. Unless you're going really slow. A much bigger issue, and the biggest one for me, is the range of the digital 5 GHz connection to a smartphone or tablet. There's a chunk of latency to deal with, which anybody who flies FPV knows it's not pleasant. However, you can get over that if it's a smooth frame rate. Anything more than about 30 to 50 meters away and it glitches out often, which loses multiple frames. Or worse still, loses connection for tens of seconds at a time and the screen just freezes. It works for framing shots up high and seeing orientation, but that's about it. Obviously the place you fly and the device you use to connect the quad to will impact this, so performance will vary. This is just mine. Now normally a DVR on board is a wonderful thing and would at least provide a glitch-free smooth video to watch back after you've had the flight, but I found that to be quite flawed and drops frames often. So improvements I'd like to have seen in this version: rate mode first and foremost. No excuses now that several other quads in the MJX range have this. And it can be implemented with no extra cost in hardware. It just means the longevity of a quad for someone is going to last so much longer. There's only one global cyclic rate, or yaw rate for that matter, but the cyclic is very mellow. I'd like to see 2 or even 3 options here, preferably operated by the 2 unused vertical trim buttons in the centre. And to go with that, a way to update a nice little USB port in the back would allow features to be rolled out, especially the ones I've just mentioned. They could just be added over time. You don't have to update, but if you want them, you could. No quad is perfect, and no way to update doesn't seem that forward thinking from MJX. Camera tilt. Just 10 to 15 degrees of up tilt would allow flying over the tops of flowers and water and not lose horizon off the top of the page. I think a simple mechanical ratchet that you physically move to where you want and it stays there would be enough to satisfy me, and it could then be isolated on rubber dampeners to get rid of any jello. Sure, a servo operated one from the transmitter would be even better, but a simple ratchet to be able to set your angle would be golden. DVR. Now the DVR dropping frames is totally unforgivable. Happens often and it can't be avoided with any memory card. I've tried 6 and 4 of those were a class 10 and they work in other HD cameras flawlessly. Unforgivable drop-in frames. Now the light handling is okay in low light, but as I mentioned before, 90 degrees to the cam provides some horizontal banding, and there's really no need for that. There's plenty of cameras around that can handle that. Get rid of the digital 5 GHz FPV and include an analog 5.8 GHz VTX. If people really wanted to use a smartphone, they could still do that, but personally I'd take a 30 frames per second over a glitchy 24 at the cost of resolution any day. I'd also like to see a follow me mode and a circle mode included. Other competitors offer this, and it's Sony software implementation, again no extra hardware, so why wouldn't you? Now regarding headless mode, because you will only use it for recoveries, I'd like it if it just beeped constantly while it was in headless mode. It can be a slow beep, but a beep constantly while it's in headless mode. It would at least stop stupid people like me knocking it on in your bag and then having an issue over a canal somewhere. Not a biggie, but I'd like to see it there. Now lastly, I'd like a way to set the home position again, other than power cycling the quad. Something like a triple press or even a long hold of the home button to do that, so you can reset your home position to come back to. That wasn't your turning on position. I think how much you like this quad really does depend on what you expect from it. If it's an FPV craft, I think you're probably going to be disappointed. But if it's an obedient, safe, GPS based quad to learn how to fly, it ticks every single box at a competitive price. So that's all for this one. See you in the next.